Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night. We're broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. I'm your host, Don Yazzie. With me, my co-host, Darren Yazzie.
Yo, hey, what's up, guys?
How's it going? How's it going?
Yeah, it's going right now, man.
Excuse me. Oh yeah, so we start a little bit early now, so like trying to get used to it, but it's okay. It works out just right. Episode 30. Today we have our brother Kevin Beltrán of the Ashiwi Zuni Pueblo tribe, our brother from another mother. Darren and I are excited to bring this guest, our member of the family. He became part of the family on Halloween Night Bash, and we'll ask him to rehash them stories over that he shared on Halloween. Pretty good stories. I can't wait. And without further ado, here is Kevin Beltrán. Ready or not, here he is. Wow, there he is.
There we go. We're live.
We're on it right now.
Hello, New Orleans. Hello, Pittsburgh. Hello, Ontario. Hello, Mississippi.
Hello, Detroit.
Detroit Rock City. No.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, we're Darren and I. We're one of the top ones that we want to bring in is the Zuni and the Hopi brothers. Those are the two top ones we wanted to bring in, and all just our neighbors, basically. Every one of us, because we always share our stories, and I know our neighbors right there has some stories just as interesting as our stories, and if not scary or scarier, our stories, and probably a lot more interesting local too.
Right. The only thing that separates us is an imaginary line on a map, pretty much.
Language. Language. Yep. It's like when I was on Hope, we're talking about different mystical beings, and they had the same thing, but it's just different language, different name that they had for the little people, the Sasquatch. It's just interesting how we can all come together when it comes to cryptids and the star people, and especially stories. And that's why you're here, our Shiwi brother storyteller. Go ahead, Darren. You want to say something?
That clown entity too. That seems to be, there's always seems to be some type of figure like this, trickster somewhere,
Yeah, but I think we're not gonna talk about that on here. But with respect to our Ashiwi brother. Let's see here. We got a Dreamweaver. What's up, Dreamweaver? Good evening. Good evening. We got people here really coming in. So, Kevin, introduce yourself to everybody, if you can, or if you will, please.
Yeah, no worries. All right. Good evening. My name is Kevin Beltrán. I'm from the Pueblo of Zuni and half Salvadorian. I grew up on the res in the Pueblo till I was about 15, and then eventually made my way out towards Santa Fe. So my experiences are based on personal experiences, stories, and also, family and people who I've known through the community, as far as like what I'm about to share tonight. But for me, at least, I would like to kind of open up obviously like this conversation here, opening it now to have this conversation, and then when we end, we would like to close it because being able to take that, whatever is told here, it's like back home. Like we don't want to take that with us after this conversation is dead. So opening it now with you two and whoever else is on the line, to then close it when we're done. But I just want to leave with that. But yeah, so my stories are kind of going back and forth between when I was in the Pueblo living there, and then when I would go back and visit my family and be there with family. So yeah.
I want to ask you if you want to pray with us and close out the episode for everybody listening out there. Way, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go for it. That sounds good. Yeah, I mean, I think just closing it out in general. If you want to just close it whenever, if you want to open it, however you all want to
After,
open
yeah,
it.
it's like. Oh no, it's all good. This is live.
Okay.
So we're handing you the mic right here.
No worries. Yeah, no, we're good. I just want to say that just in general to open it and then being able to close it. But I just want to say that now. I don't want to go into taking too long, but I'll just say that now, and then we can get into it, later on.
Yeah. Oh no, go for it. You're the guest of honor, so it's basically your episode. You're making this episode, so it's all you.
Well, I guess to say for all the viewers and speaking English, just saying, from now, what we're going to be sharing here tonight, we're not going to take any of that with us. And when we're done, we're going to close it out. We're going to keep it here, and it's not going to go with you anywhere, these stories, because I know that sometimes whatever we say may be taboo or, to other people who might be listening. So I just want to put that forward. So yeah, just that.
Right on.
No loose ends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that's what they say a lot. Like a lot of people on TikTok and YouTube, they don't use the word skinwalker, so it's always SW or a walker. So I'm like, okay, that's English. You gotta say it in Navajo or another language, then they'll come. But okay, but sorry,
Right.
go ahead.
No, you're good. Yeah, I think it's kind of funny that you bring that up because when I hear skinwalkers, I always think people always get it misstrued in like the TikTok or YouTube world, and it's not always correct. And I always hear people talking about skinwalkers that are on the East Coast or other parts of the country, and I'm like, but that's not relevant. It doesn't really tie back to where they come from. So there's a meaning and there's an understanding behind it. So yeah.
That's the reason why we started the show, and collaborate with us. So definitely,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always hear them. The skinwalkers too. They talk about it, and they always get it's a bad rep. Like especially on our side, they type it in, and it's a couple of first thing that pop up is black and white pictures of our our Yebiche, our dancers. And you're like, no, that's not. Yeah, like that's not it. That's totally false right there. Why? And then everybody, first thing that they type in, they don't know too much about it, so that's what they see now, and that's what they believe. So it's gotta take back the pen and start rewriting everything again. So especially on our side. So
dang it, we always got to rewrite it, even though we didn't even write it.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't meant to be written, but they got to rewrite it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like for us at least back home in Zuni, I think it's always been that's the thing, right? Like our language isn't written, but we all communicate through language, and we all communicate through stories. Like that's passed on generationally. And I think what we learn, right, like it's very different compared to your average. Well, not I wouldn't say average, but the Western way of thinking, right? Like that's always been a difference. And I think for you guys, like what's been a big thing to get me on interested in your podcast has always been like the direction you take with folks and who you bring on is always from the native perspective, and it's always different from, not trying to make the Western way of thinking, but people realizing like, oh, this is a reality that we experience as native people, and it's something that is pretty like I guess you would say it's unique to our communities, because I was sharing with Don before that, like for us at least, like it's always we're in the past, present, and future the way that we do traditionally, like how we even within our own community, right? Like for us at least in Zuni Pueblo, like we're a very old Pueblo. It's and the difference of our community, right? Like a Pueblo, it was created, the name Pueblo comes from Spanish, right? So like when the Spanish came and colonized, that's what they called our community, was a Pueblo, because it was already in existence. There was buildings, there was structures, there was a sense of place that has been there for a while. So that's why they called it a Pueblo, as a town. So that's kind of like our connection to it. And like it dates back pretty far. I mean, like what I say is it's always dates back to a time immemorial, right? Like before time existed. So like we in ourselves have always been there before time existed, and that really takes us back to that time. So how old our community is, and then to the present, and then also thinking to the future, because back home, and even in all communities, we always pray to the future for our future generations, and for good coming of, whether that be rain or harvest or hunting. That's how we move forward as indigenous people. And I think we live as native people, we live in a realm of future, present, and past. And I think that's where we really come into contact with a lot of what we experience on our res and on our communities.
Oh,
Yeah.
well said, man. Well
It's
said.
it's like a huge like our we may be different tribe, but we can relate. Like
Yeah.
Darren, he's out in Rama, and I'm out in like Miami Valley area. With our stories and our situations, we can relate. You know what I
Right.
mean? So like, even though we speak different language, but we're still family deep down inside.
Right.
We still can relate to each other.
Yeah.
Unlike anywhere else in the world, no one can relate to us. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just, but yeah. Go ahead though. Sorry.
No, you're right, man. I mean, I think that's where I lead off of. And I think when I meet other native people, I always say us, right? Because it's never any difference. Like we understand where we're coming from, and I think we all have similar like well, we do have similar understandings when it comes to like what we do within our own areas and how we move forward in that way. But I think even thinking about our stories and how that connects together, like there's a lot of like kind of things that bridge over from one another, and we're like, dang, you got that too, or like that's what you guys got. So that's kind of like what brought me to you all is having something that was similar. You all had interest, because there's always something that's pretty close to what you guys experienced, or whether or not. And then Darren, like you being in Rama, you're not too far from
Oh
our
yeah.
Pueblo, so it's like you're right there, you're neighbors, so you understand like what we probably go
Mm,
through too.
right. Yeah. I know. I posted a picture of a Bigfoot out there in El Morro. That, and just right there too. So uh, I put it on a couple of these. Like red, what do you call it, red stories, res ghost stories type deal.
Hmm.
And a lot of people they actually popped up and saying like, oh yeah, we seen that. And like just the culture, the hospital, people at the hospital right there in Zuni, and just the local community. It seems like everybody sees it, but they don't really kind of talk about it. So, and us being neighbors, it's obviously something's going on, and stuff runs around the tree lines out there too. So,
Right.
but the trees you see is the trees I see too. So,
Right.
it's just how do I say it? It brings it's kind of like a little community coming back. Even one of our following guests too. He was actually Pine Hill placed
Yeah.
neighbor too, and he caught on. He heard us, and he just like for like I talked for him, man. We just we had a blast for like 2 hours just talking about like, man, I thought this stuff was all made up and stuff. Like it's good to talk about
Yeah.
along with certain people.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's good to
Um,
have a fellow neighbor on. So
yeah.
Right.
Before we we'll have Kevin take over the show. Let's catch up with the comments real quick, and then we'll let Kevin uh start off his stories. Can't wait. It's gonna be good, guys. It's gonna be good. Don't go anywhere. Make sure you stay put. bring us some popcorn while you're at it. No, I'm just playing. Sally Fourth. Hello, Sally Fourth. Vic, 1970 Fool. Good evening, Vic.
What's up,
Crazy
Vic?
Coyote 1313. Make sure you write it wrong first, like Arthur Tony Hillerman did for his share in Leap Horn novels. So when it come back to him. Yeah, that's why I just go with Don Yazzie. Like Don's not my full name and Yazzie's not my real name. I'll explain.
Yep.
Uh,
Dang, alias.
Melody Alvarez. What's
Well,
up, sister? All right. Okay. All right. You can start off when you're young and
All right,
we can take your time. We can milk this out as long as you want. As long as
got
we
it,
can. But
got it.
uh before we go, Darren, you got any questions for Kevin?
oh no, man, I'm just more excited to hear what you have for us today. So
All right,
it's all your show.
All
It's your
right.
show today, buddy.
all
Shiwi.
right. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, and then yeah, the Shiwi. I know people are always like, yeah, Shiwi, what's that? I'm like, it's Zuni. So saying that Shiwi is like that Zuni guy, you know. So
Mm,
I said that Shiwi as being like that Zuni guy because I feel like other people always say that Zuni. So
mm,
Anyway, yeah. So I guess starting off, growing up in the Pueblo, I think was a very it's a very different experience. I think from other people that be able to go back home and visit it. But I know I when I was growing up there, I moved. Well, okay, going back, I was originally I was born in California and I moved to the Pueblo when I was like 1 years old. So my dad is Salvadorian, so he's from El Salvador. I'm first generation on my dad's side, and then my mom is from Zuni Pueblo. So our Pueblo is matrilineal, so it's through the mother. So automatically I became Shui. I became Ashui, so it's like that came through my mom. So when my mom had me and my sister, she didn't want to raise us in California. She wanted us to go back home. So we eventually made our way back home. And that was a year after I was born. So when we got back to Zuni, my dad he had never been anywhere other than El
Oh shit.
Salvador and California. So he was in the middle of nowhere in Zuni. So, I think he was also put in a position by family that he was an outsider and he wasn't native, nor was he from Zuni. So there was always kind of a bit of a tension, but I do know that the house that we moved into belonged to, I believe, my great aunt. So it was a family member that was not, direct like related to my mom, but so she passed away and eventually we moved in her home, which was next to my grandma's. And I remember growing up hearing stories of my dad being like pretty much like haunted by a family member,
mm,
for not being native because she didn't like anyone that wasn't Zuni or native to begin with. So when my dad showed up, it's like that automatically kind of sparked off a lot of stuff. And I remember sharing with Don that my dad would experience when we weren't at home. We'd go to Gallup to go get groceries, and he'd be at home by himself. And we lived in the middle of the Pueblo. So it was like, he would experience like uh, doors opening, cabinets closing and opening, the TV going on and off, lights going on and off. He would hear like voices or people talking to him from like the back room and stuff. And that room was like where me and my sister's room was because we shared a room. So he would be like, yeah, I thought, I kept thinking like you guys were home, but you weren't because there was noises and people talking, but he would just get, tormented. And sometimes he would go to the bathroom and he'd come back and all the cabinets in the kitchen would be open and,
yeah.
all this and that. And eventually he had enough and he's like, I can't do anymore. We got to get out of here. And that's when we found out through family that they were like, yeah, well, so and so that was in there didn't like anyone that wasn't native or even Zuni. So makes sense that you're being haunted. So, from us, it was an experience growing up that we kind of had that in our life to begin with, right, from
Mm,
a young age. And my sister, I think she got a little more than me because my sister had epilepsy when she was little, so she used to have like seizures, and that's why we slept in the same room aside from only having like two bedrooms. But I would sleep in the room with her, and sometimes she'd have seizures, and also she would get into like sleepwalking a lot. But it was eventually kind of like termed out that, she wasn't just sleepwalking by herself. Like she would be following someone through the hallways, what she would tell my mom. Or she thought my mom was awake, so she would try to go follow her. And, my mom would wake up in the middle of the night and my sister would be staring at her, just dead awake, just looking at my mom, just looking at her. My mom would wake up and be like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" So my sister would sleepwalk, and eventually, when we moved away from that house, it kind of stopped. But, she would also say that her dolls would play with her and her dolls would move around by themselves. And, but it was all like in the term of like nothing bad, but it was like, like a family member that was trying to get her attention to whatever, just trying to get her attention. But I think it was on the bad end for my dad, that I think he was having like really bad nightmares and, things that were like bothering him throughout the night. But he never really talked too much about it, but he shared that, what he was saying about the TV and the kitchen cabinets opening and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that was from the young age when we first kind of found out, like what paranormal might be, but that was like within the house. And I think outside of the house, like we always heard stories and we would hear stuff around the Pueblo, like stuff happening. But that was kind of like my first experience with having anything like, yeah, out of ordinary, I guess you would say.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you just kind of take it. It's always just been like a normal thing, huh? The when you're as a kid, it never really frightened you.
I think, yeah. I mean, I don't think it ever frightened me. I think I'm pretty sensitive to feeling like when things are a little off. Like if you go into a space and like you feel like, this doesn't feel right, or like talking to someone and the vibe's not there. Like I've always kind of been that type of person. And also has my mom, she's been able to see that and she's been able to feel that. So it's like it kind of handed off to my end.
You just got to get comfortable with coexisting with spirits in a way, huh?
Yeah.
It's just like, this is it. I'm living it. A lot of people want to experience this, and I'm living it. Type of deal.
Right,
get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so moving away from that house, we moved to another house that was another family members, and we were actually closer to the center of the Pueblo. So if you all know how kind of Pueblos are, there's a plaza, it's a center place where where all our traditional happenings are going on. It's in the center of the Pueblo, and we live pretty close to that. So it's like in the older spot of like the Pueblo, because there's older homes there. And we live there, and I remember, like just the stuff that we would hear, like whether it be people talking about, and we would hear it too, like like knocking on the window, or someone on top of the house, or stuff like that, or neighbors saying that someone was tapping on their window, talking in through the window, stuff like that. But that's all just stuff we would hear. And my experience in that house was similar to that. I remember one night, it was probably about winter, and I remember my dad, me and him were up because it was close to the holidays. I was around like maybe 6 years old, and we were watching TV, really late. And I think I fell asleep on the couch, and he did too. So we were waking up ready to go to bed. And he told me, come outside and help me get some more wood so we can stoke the fire before we go to sleep, so it wouldn't be so cold in the morning. So we went out and we got wood. And I remember we came back in and we were putting wood in the fire, and we are stacking on the side of the fireplace. And we just heard something on top of the roof, just kind of like, like it sounded like someone walking on the roof, but it didn't sound like regular footsteps. It sounded like hooves or something, like the sound of it. And I remember my dad telling me, he just said, stay in here, I'm gonna go look. I was all freaked out, I didn't know what was going on. And I heard stories about, people being on roofs or whatever may have happened. But he said he went out, and when he went out the front door, he heard something jump off, and it landed kind of like on the side of the yard and took off, ran over and jumped over the wall. And he said when he went over there, he couldn't see any footprints or anything like that. He's like, there was no footprints, but there was like, You know, in our yard there was a little bit of gravel, so you probably could see someone's feet or footprints if there was a person that fell off the roof, but there wasn't anything. So, you know, there was stuff like that that we experienced in that house. And
Is
then also, oh yeah, go ahead.
is I know the Zuni, they kind of have like 2-story houses. Is this one of the? Is this the kind of house that you guys, hear tapping on the windows on top, second level, or?
No, that's more towards like the center of the Pueblo where we were at. It's like on the little. Our home was a 1-story, but yeah,
Okay.
I mean, like
Well,
we.
either way, man, that's still kind of really creepy though. But
Yeah.
you know what? That stuff does happen out there on Pine Hill.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, it's people always kind of hear like, yeah, every once in a while you hear running, like. But as a kid, I they used to say that like every once in a while you hear running on top of the roof. And as a kid, like, why would someone jump on top of the roof and run and
Or how
then
would they
jump
get
off?
up there?
Yeah, exactly. And like, what's the purpose of that? But strangely enough, yeah, the same thing. Just like hooves, you hear just doop, 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 and then you can just hear a thud, and then they run off. And this is the middle of like, the NHA housings too. So
Oh
it's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's like
In
where
a neighborhood.
how yeah, it's in the neighborhood. There's lights, and
Street
people
lights,
driving
yeah.
around. Yeah, and it's like it's odd, but I guess it's what they do out here. I guess in this area, back home.
In the
So
red.
I'm aware, right?
Yeah.
But
But
Yeah.
go ahead, continue though.
I don't know, go for it if you had a question or no.
Oh yeah, okay. I did have a question actually. So you guys, so like the Pueblos, the like how you guys build a home, so you guys just build on top of the older ones, right? So that's why the spirits always been there. They come up and say hi and all that.
Yeah.
Um, oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. But it's usually family. It's a family home that you build on. So it's probably
Oh,
the
so it has
house
to
that was
stay in
there.
the family.
Yeah, it's a family house that you probably build upon. So for instance, like where
Oh,
my grandma's house is, like the whole it's not multiple buildings, but it's kind of like a structure that stretches a little ways, that it was all one family at one point, and then they shared it with another family. But that's still kind of consistent today, that those
mm,
homes have been there in that family for a while.
and another question. I know the Ho'ona'atim down there by Tucson. They celebrate the Day of the Dead too, and they bring out like watermelon, squash, whatever the favorite family member like, and they came by and they would take a bite of it, and they would see the teeth mark of the person, the family member. So, do you guys experience that as well, or? Oh, okay. Let's hear
Yeah.
about it.
So we have what we call a grandmother's day, but it's basically we call it Ansalama, which is before Halloween. So it's basically going out to bring the family back. So you go out and you go around the pueblo and you get food, and then you feed at the end of the night. You know, you give to your ancestors, but it's basically bringing your ancestors back, kind of like similar to the Day of the Dead. Just appreciating and understanding the people who have passed on and the family who have gone on, but mainly the women, just because we're matriarchal, that we celebrate our women, and that's called Grandmother's Day in our pueblo. Yeah, similar to
oh,
what they do. Yeah,
oh,
That's beautiful.
wow,
yeah,
nice.
That's cool and 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 spooky. I don't know how to explain to you. Like,
That,
oh man, I just want to watch her, but I know I'm like, hey, you're not supposed to be here. But like, hey, I'm just here to
yeah.
see the ghosts with you
mm,
guys. No, just playing. But
But yeah, I mean,
but
it's different though, because I know like most, and I try to explain to people like Zuni is very unique because we never been Catholicized. Because like other pueblos, they have feast days, which are basically kind of connected to the Catholic Church, which when the Spanish came, that's what they created, right? Was the feast days, and it's celebration of the saints. So if you think about feast days, and if you even look them up, they're all named after saints, and they're all throughout the pueblos, the 19 pueblos in New Mexico. But Zuni, we don't have a feast day because we were never Catholicized. So for us, at least, like we still highly we're highly connected to our past, and we're not like we're not afraid to like be open about what we do in terms of like our own traditional happenings, like stuff that we have back home. It's not as restricted as other pueblos are. And I think it's similar for Hopi, because Hopi and Zuni are pretty close in what we do. But I think for us, at least, like, you know, we were never Catholicized by Spaniards. So like we're open to really doing things like we used to do back in the day before Spaniards even arrived in this area.
So it's like more of a older form, like more of the original before it gets kind of whitewashed, you would say.
Yeah, yeah, original.
Yeah.
I always claim being like Zuni's the best, but just because, you know, I was like we're never Catholicized, but that's just my take. But I know that other pueblos, you know, they have their own traditional the things that they do, and I think that it's still, you know, it's strong within the communities, and I think it's what carries on, and I think that's what makes pueblos unique, is because we've been here and we've gone through three different governance, right? Like the Spaniards, the Mexican to American. So it's like we've been consistent through that. And not to get too far into that historical piece, but like, you know, like during our time of those different kind of occupations or colonialism, if you will, we received three canes. So one of them being the Spanish cane, one of them being the Mexican cane, and then one of them being the American cane, because they saw that the Mexican and Spaniards gave us the acknowledgement of saying that we were existent here long before anyone ever came along. So for Pueblos, it's like it's different, right? Like we're not nomadic, and we've been kind of situated in where we are. So they're very old, like they're very old communities, and we have very old buildings in our communities.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I've been learning too, is the each 19 Pueblo, each of them have distinct names of what they've done, like pottery. So you know, it's just I'm learning as well. You know, I'm still learning about tribes in Oregon. I'm still, you know, I just want to keep learning till you take your last breath, because you know I'm always gonna say I don't know much. I'm not gonna lean on my own understanding. We're all here to learn. You know, we're all
Right.
here like a childlike sense of wonder, you know, from each
Mhm.
other. You know, like I had this one person's asking me like, so you're Navajo, so how's the you guys don't get along with the Ute, the Zuni, the Paiute, the Ute? You guys are always fighting. How do you how were you? And I was like, yeah, that goes on, but you know, it all comes down to respect. The reason why we're all still there, we all respect each other. We didn't kill one another off. You know, it all went down to you can show me things that you want to show me,
Right.
and you don't have to show me things that you don't want to show me, and that's okay. And the same thing for me, and that's okay. But we're here for protection. We're here to work together. You know,
Right.
so I think a lot of people don't really understand that, and just
Yeah.
say, hey, we're all together in this. You know, and
Mhm.
like for us, like in our language, we call white people Belagana, but the that means the oppressor. And then before they took over this whole area, it was Dajagani, like it translates to fight and kill them. So it's just like a whole bunch of name changing throughout time, and they're like, all right, now no more fighting. It's all peace now. It's no
And
defeat. It's victory. We finally
right.
all have peace within us. You know, but
Yeah.
but oh yeah,
In Zuni we call Western or white folks Melika, but that's like Melika is like it's funny because people talk about anthropologists or archaeologists and they just say, "Oh, that Melika over there," but it just means that Westerner. They don't have a name for anthropologists or archaeologists. They just call them
Mhm.
Melika because that's the different, you know, outside of who we are.
oh, well, that's pretty
Mhm.
cool. That's awesome. Before we continue again, let's catch up with the comments here. Mika J. Von Koshel is here. What's up, Von? What's up, Mika? Uh, Pan Cookie. This is better than Skinwalker Ranch. Good job, guys. Oh, thank you, Pan Cookie. Yeah, good
Pan
job, you
cookie.
guys, right here. And Z Sun Dragon. Hi, Don. Hi, Darren. Hi, Shiwi.
What's up?
Hey, what's up, C-Sun?
Carla Washington. Hello, Don, Darren. I think she means Kevin, not Keith.
Keith.
Myth.
What's up, Keith?
Myths, monsters, and mullets. What's up,
Hey,
guys?
what's up?
What's up, man? I knew I smelled you. I can smell the mullet from a mile away. I knew you were here. I knew you were here.
Dang, I'm trying to grow a mullet, man.
All right. No.
Oh, man.
After the show, he took off. He didn't have his mullet, and I was like, "What the heck?" Man, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking, but he's like with the fake mullet that he took off his mullet. I was like, "What the hell? Where's your hair?" So, man, I don't know.
That's scarier than probably those stories, dude.
Right. It's a sneaky, tired. Is a tired episode right there too. So,
yeah, I just congratulated his wife. I'm like, hey, good job on the mullet. There's no doubt of a question that the drapes match the carpet. Good job. That's what I told him. You hear me, John, Mr. John? He knows I said that. He can show you the screenshots of that. But anyways, moving on from mullets, from business, or was it council in the front, party in the back, right? Okay. All right. So you can continue your story.
All right. Cool. Yeah. So I guess jumping back into it, yeah, growing up, kind of experiencing things other than what I talked about, what my dad and I heard on the roof, and kind of stories around the Pueblo. But I remember one big story that sticks out the most, and I told Don about it pretty briefly, but I think I was probably about, well, I have a pretty intense one, scary one that I'll get into after this, and I think it's probably the scariest story I have, because when I always tell it, it always takes me back to that moment, and it's kind of hard for me to talk about. And I think that's when I know that it's truly affected me today, even when I'm 32 years old, that I can even go back to that moment in my mind, and I'm like another 11-year-old kid again, experiencing it for the first time again. But before I get to that, I want to talk about one story that I had. I was probably about the same age, maybe 11 or 12. And I had a friend that we would go and do, like, we go to his house, and there's probably like 3 of us or 4 of us, and that's when Halo came out. So we would get on the we get on the Xbox and we play, and we would do like the split screen, so we have like 2 different screens, and we'd be playing against each other in teams. And eventually his parents were over it. Yeah, the good days. Yeah. His parents are over it, Monsters, Hot Cheetos, all the whole work. So his parents were like, you guys got to go somewhere else because we can't keep up with the noise. So what we did was we figured, like, why don't we get tents, and then we'll run an extension cord from the outside of his trailer, and we'll put in and we'll extend it to 2 tents, and we'll have our own little tents where we have our TV set up where we can just be teams and play against each other, So we figured out how to do that, and eventually we just were like, well, whatever, we'll just get in one big old tent. So we all pitched in one summer, I believe, and we got like a 8-person tent or something, so we could all sleep in there. There was like 4 of us. So anyway, we would run the extension cord. It wasn't anything, maybe like 80 feet from his house, but the 80 feet from his house was like kind of like a dirt field. There was like nothing beyond where our tent was from his trailer. And that's where we would set up at, because we weren't too close to the house that if we were screaming and yelling all night that his parents wouldn't hear us. So we set up the tent over there, and we had the TV, we played till we fall asleep basically. So like, early morning time. And I remember one time we were in there and we were playing, and it was probably around like 2:00 in the morning. And I remember the TV went out, the electricity, because the extension cord just went out, got unplugged. So we figured, oh man, one of the dogs hit it, and then we had to Rochambeau, who will go and plug it back in, because we were like, we're not going out at 2 a.m. in the morning. We know what's up there. So we didn't go. So eventually I had to go. So I walked out, I lost, and I had to go and plug it in. Nothing weird happened. other than me running to it, plugging it in, and running back and acting like I didn't run. Like I was walking all cool. Got to the tent, I unzipped it, and I was like, "Oh, nothing happened." But I was like, I had a feeling I was like scared, because it was like 2 a.m. But we kept playing. We got back to it, and we were probably going to like 3. And by that point, I think we were almost done. We were all pretty tired. We were about to turn off the Xbox and call it a night. But right before that happened, and I told Don this too, that you know back home, when you kind of hear or feel that something's gonna happen, the dogs will sense it first. So you'll hear the dogs barking down the way, a couple ways away. You'll hear the dogs, and it starts getting closer and closer, and all those dogs closer to the trailer would start barking. And before we knew it, his dogs were barking, and they were right near our tent. And then it just went dead silent, stopped barking, got quiet. And we were sitting there waiting. We are like, oh, what the heck? Like, what's going on? So then we were waiting to see like if a dog was going to continue barking. And before we knew it, we heard something outside the tent, kind of walking up to where we were. And I remember my cousin was with us, and they were on like the left side of the tent, which was closer to that dirt field. And I remember they were like, "Oh, dang," because they looked and they could see like a finger or like a hand kind of rubbing across like the top of the tent, coming towards like where the front, like where you unzip the tents at. And we were like staring at it, because the reflection of the TV, you could see like the indentation of something kind of rubbing across the tent. Eventually, it got to the front, and by that point, we were all backed up in the corner away from the door. We had like pellet guns or whatever, and they were sitting there. My friend was sitting there pumping this pellet gun quietly as he could, just staring at the front, the waiting for the zipper to go. And before we knew it, it started kind of going, right? The zipper started going from the very bottom, slowly, slowly, slowly. And then he stopped, and my friend just said, "Hey, I got a gun. I got a gun." And he started screaming, and we were like, because he got scared, he got all frantic, and he started yelling, and that zipper stopped midway. And I remember it stopped, and it just got really quiet, and you could just feel like something was outside the tent. And we were standing there, and we're like, "Well, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do?" And he's just like, "We got to go out. We got to go out. We got to go out." And he was already at that point where he wanted to go inside. He was already scared. So he was the first one to rip open the tent, and he grabbed the zipper and opened it. And I remember when he opened it, there was like this white kind of flash that left from the front entrance and went to the side of the tent. And I remember seeing it. And that's when I ran and I grabbed that pellet gun, and we just took off, me and my 3 other friends, my cousin behind me, and my other friend, and my other friend who was scared was stayed in the tent. But the 3 of us ran around his trailer. And I remember us seeing this like thing dashing away. It was like white. It was like white. It looked almost like, and I was sharing with Don that like, when they show like aliens in movies, and it's kind of like this fluorescent kind of like glowingness to it. Like that's what it looked like, and it was dashing, and it ran behind another house. And I remember when it ran behind the house, we couldn't get to it in time because it was so fast. So by the time we came around my friend's trailer, it was already behind that other house. And right when it went behind that house, there was like a couple other houses next to it. It was like a neighborhood, like a cul-de-sac kind of situation. And those dogs just started going crazy, barking, 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 barking. And before we knew it, the dog stopped again, dead silent. And I remember we looked down the road where those houses were, and this white dog, big dog. It was like, it kind of looked like a husky. It came out from behind that last house. It looked at us and then just walked off into the night. And we were standing there looking at this dog. And then after that, it was just like everything was quiet. Nothing, no dogs barking. Everything was quiet. We went back inside the trailer at that point.
Oh man.
So tell us, what do you think? Yeah, tell us what you think it was. What do you think you saw? Like, do you think it was an alien or a ghost or some type of spirit? Or
Actually, did it look like a suit, or did it look like? Because when I first seen my skinwalker, when it took off from me, his body lit up like Flash Gordon. And when he
It
was
looked
running
like shimmering.
through the dirt
It was
road.
shimmering. It was shimmering. Yeah.
Oh, Dang.
Oh,
Yeah. So that's
shimmering.
why I was thinking of Skinwalker. Yeah, because it was giving light off when he was running, and then I was hearing thunderclap. Remember when the lightning strikes?
Oh
His body was giving off light, and he was running down the dirt
yeah.
road. Gone.
I was telling Dom, but when we were running after it, I remember it was like, you know, when they travel in space and it kind of gets tunnel vision. It's like we fell into this, like, it's like a moment where I remember we got right behind it, and like where it was going, we were right behind it, and it felt like we just like everything was blurry. And then once it turned that corner, it's like everything came back to normal. You know what I mean? It's like we fell like in right behind it, where it was like this like moment where everything was blurry. Because I remember it looked like I couldn't see anything, and it looked like there was like the best way, yeah, like when they try and time travel, when it looks like when you're driving in the snow and everything blows by you, that's what it looked like. And then it stopped as soon as it went around the corner.
Damn, just a bunch of ballsy Zuni kids running, chasing after
with a pellet gun.
Yeah, that's crazy, guys. It's crazy.
But
I wish I can watch that. I'd buy that for $1. Hey, here's $1. Go chase the Skinwalker. Man.
But I remember thinking, I was like, if we don't do anything now, it's just gonna come back. So we might as well go after it.
Yeah, scare it before. Yeah.
Well, I was kind of that type of kid though. I was always kind of like, I got to see what it is and I got to go for it. Otherwise, it's gonna come for me. So, but doesn't always play out the best.
Oh man. Versus me, I was always a kid like saying, why? Hey, don't go out there at night. Why I'm going out there? Oh, that's why. Oh, but go ahead, Darren. Sorry to cut you off.
So this might be off topic, but which Halo was it? Halo 1, 2?
Because it was Halo 2. Yeah.
Halo 2? Oh man, that's probably the best one right there. It's probably the best one.
That was the best one.
TV System Link.
Yeah.
It's called System Link. Yeah.
System Link. Actually, I got a story to tell too about this Halo. You know, same thing with you. Same thing. Being we were like junior high school, and me and my a couple of friends, from school, they decided to do that System Link. So one night we played for like 8 hours, dude. Like it was for like capture the flag, and it went on for 8 hours. Eventually, the mother just had to tell all the kids to, like, you guys don't have to go home, but you guys
can stay here.
Calm down, type deal. Yeah, and it was a pretty good setup. We had the whole house, and we had like 16 kids playing a game of capture the flag. So afterwards, after all this, everything settled down. It's probably around 1 or 2, and it was just me, my brother, and my best friend, and another guy. And everybody took off, and it was just us sitting in the dark, with the fire, and we're jamming out, playing music and stuff. And eventually, we started hearing our names being called out, just one by one, and at the first time, my buddy, he said, like, "Hey, did you guys hear that?" And we're expecting someone to fart at the time. It's but then eventually, like, no, someone's calling our name. Like, listen, and everybody got quiet, and I could hear my name being called, like, Darren, in a girl's voice, the lady's voice.
Nope.
And then it called my other friend out too, Garrett. He called his name out, and then we all just stopped, and I'm like, oh shoot, well, time for bed. And we didn't know what it was. We just like, okay, well, it's time for bed. That's it. And so we went over next door, and we just crashed out. We didn't really talk too much about it afterwards. We just kind of laughed about it. But we knew the area where he lives, there's a bunch of ruins, So so a lot of like, just a bunch of witchy stuff happens around late at night at his house too. We knew about it. They know about it. It's just something we just, you just live with, to the point where it's just an almost normal, I hate to say it like that, but it's Oh yeah. Well, yeah, that happens. That happens here, and and then now you don't get worried about it no more.
Right.
But that's a Halo. That's a Halo 2 story that I had. Since you brought that up, I had that. I
Man,
had something like that happen too. So
that's probably a flashback for a lot of people. You're like, dang, Halo, man, I remember those
yeah,
nights.
yeah, I could just hear that. You can hear that theme. And, just rally up the troops like that, bro. It just really speaks to your age right there. Damn.
Yeah.
Good times. We're old millennials. Let's catch up with the comments here. We got a lot of people here. I think he's laughing at that. I don't know which comment he's laughing at.
Probably
Z
the
Sun Dragon says,
carpets
"LOL."
matching the drapes.
Oh, probably that one. And he says, myths, monsters, and mullets. Party in the back and down below. Check them out. JP, easy there, John, easy there. Like I said, save some cousins for the rest of us, man. Don't hog all the cousin sisters now. JP, hello, what's up, JP? Carla Washington, sorry, got your name wrong.
All good.
Okay, she apologized. Okay, Brad Pitt in the house. What's up, Brad Pitt? Cool. In the house. Cheers from Los Angeles. Oh
What's
man,
up?
thank you, man. Thank you. Make sure you save a Hollywood star for us. Yep, right there. Save a Hollywood star for us right there.
Brad Pitt.
Nivea's Angel. Oh yeah. Nivea's Angel. Hello, Don. And speakers. Hello, chat. Nivea's Angel. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe. It literally helps the channel grow. Please.
Right there.
Please.
Dang.
Yep. Time up. Sherry Madigan 5315. Hello, Don and Darren.
Hey.
Funky Wizard. Hello, hey. Oh, yo, Halo 2 was the shiz.
Right.
Always.
Right.
Definitely was. Nivea's Angel sounds like when I lived in Guadalupe, Arizona. Oh yeah. She has some good stories from Guadalupe, Arizona. It's full of crazy things. It's like an old native town. Yeah, she's gonna come on soon. I gotta go look at my schedule. She's seen a Hat Man, the Goat Man looking guy. Well, yeah. She'll come on. I think, did I catch up with everybody's comment here? Let's see here. Who did I miss? Okay. All right. Looks like we caught up with everybody here. All right, Darren, do you have any questions for Kev?
No, that was my question that went into the story right there too. So yeah, that whatever these what I was told, growing up, it's always you don't be scared of it. If you run, if you go towards it, they're basically want to run away from you. So not to say that this is something you should always do, but it's it don't be. It's good to be scared, but it's good to have a healthy fear on you.
Right.
So besides that, so how was the morning? How was the next morning? What did your parents say about it? They see a bunch of kids screaming late at night and stuff.
No, I don't think anyone said anything, and we didn't even talk about it. I know my cousin and my friend who was with us didn't even say a word. They act like it didn't happen. They're like, "Oh, we're not gonna talk about it. We don't want to talk about it." But I was like, "But you saw it. You saw the dog," and they're like, "Yeah, we don't want to talk about it. Don't ask me about it." So I was like, "All right." But years later, I talked to my cousin and they were like, "Yeah, I remember it. I remember what it looked like." But they didn't say anything other than that. That was it.
So do you think
yeah.
this thing turned into that dog, or what do you think of this dog? Huh?
I don't know.
You ever see it again?
Okay. I did.
Wow. Oh.
So check this out. So I think it was probably around the same time, and I told Don. I don't know if I told Don the story, but I remember my dad and my sister. We were going to camp and out near a lake called Ojo Caliente, which is west of our pueblo, and that's kind of near where our old pueblo was. So one of our pueblos was located there. There was multiples, but there was like different villages. So one of the villages was out in that area, and we were gonna go camp one time. And I remember it was probably around the same time, maybe a couple months apart, maybe a year, because I remember it was summer. We were gonna go camp, and at that time the lake was, it had water in it, and there's a lot of people, and they had like those, like those grills that they put at every park where you can cook on them. Those little black grills that they have. So we were there, and I remember my dad he's like, yeah, we're gonna go set up the tent. And we weren't even that far off the main area where everyone's at. We were kind of in a section where it was a little like roundabout, and there was a couple other spots that people would set up their little campground, or they would go and grill and hang out. So it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. But I remember we set our tent up and we got all situated. And my dad, he was like, I got some steaks. We're going to put some steaks on this grill. So, he went and got the tin foil and put on the grill and got the charcoal and lit it up. And I remember it vividly because I remember spilling a bunch of that lighter fluid all over my shoes. And I was like, man, it smells really bad. But, I remember that being something vivid in my memory. And anyway, we were getting close to probably sundown. It was summer, so it was probably around, 8 o'clock or something like that, getting kind of dusk. And he lit the grill, and I remember he was saying he was going to put some steaks on. And the grill was near the car, but we were kind of like, our tent was maybe, I don't know, 60, 50 feet away from like where the grill was, around this little hill. So we were at the tent, and I remember I was telling my sister I'm going to go check with dad to see when the food's ready, because I was hungry. So I went over and I was meeting my dad, and he was actually walking to me. So he met me halfway to the tent, in between the tent and the grill. He's like, oh, I was going to come get you to come help me. So we turned around and we were going to walk. And I remember as soon as we were walking over this hill, we seen this, it looked like a white wolf. I'm not even kidding you. It looked like a white, like, those wolves in, what do they call them? The dire wolf, like in Game of Thrones, those big wolves. It looked like that, but it was on its back hind legs, grabbing these steaks off the grill. And I remember when it grabbed it, put it in its mouth, and my dad, he started running towards it, and that thing looked at him and jumped on all fours and took off running into the, out of nowhere.
Wait. You said it grabbed, so it
I
had
don't know
hands.
if it had hands. I don't know, because I was behind him, but he said it grabbed him. He said it grabbed him. I didn't see him, but he said it grabbed it. I saw this white wolf, kind of husky looking dog, run off away from the grill. But he was in front of me, so he said he saw it grab it.
Good.
Two steaks, big steaks. Grabbed them and ran off. Yeah.
Wow. So
Watching
you guys
the
stick
whole
around?
time.
Or?
Oh man. Looks like
So that's what connected the two together. Yeah. But it's
the same wolf.
I don't know, but it took me a while to tell my dad that I saw something before that looked similar.
Wow.
I was like gonna ask you, do you think it's the star people? What do you guys call them? I know the Navajos, we call them the holy people, the creators, the helpers for the creators.
Yeah, probably along the lines of star people. I go with that. Yeah. Yeah.
With that traveling. So I'm like, whoa, that's like futuristic technology type of deal. So yeah,
But
I know they cloak their crafts on the on the Navajo side. I seen it myself. They cloak. Also, the lizard people they cloak. And do you have any heard anything on the lizard people out that way? I know you heard the little people as well.
oh yeah, I have some stories about that I'll share from my mom that she told me. And I have experience about it too. But yeah, I mean, I think lizard people, like, I think my mom has probably had experience with them once or twice. I remember she said she came across someone that she believed was similar to like a lizard person, that didn't have no personality, that didn't have, it was like social cues were not there. And then I remember her saying that they just did not look like a normal human. Their eyes were just they didn't look like there was someone, like the lights were on but no one was there. And I remember she said that they just kept asking like weird questions that were like way too like like intimate around like what's your blood type, where were you born, what time, all this
Hmm.
weird stuff. So
Wow.
she was like, it just made her think that that wasn't someone that was from here. You know what I mean?
Right? It's kind of an oddball. You know,
Like,
you
what,
want to
you
be
ask
asked
someone
these
what their blood
questions.
type is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Like, huh. So, besides these uh, lizard people, or your, how your American call it those Illuminati lizards. So, uh, where did this happen? Now, did this happen after Zuni or
No, it actually happened in Grants.
Grants? Oh
Yep.
man, uh, yeah, I think it's gonna be kind of a hard time going back home now. Everything seems to be really active now. So now we got grants. All right. So
Yeah, I mean, Grants has always been an interesting place too, though, because it's always had a pretty interesting history there in the area.
all right. Um,
I got a grandma that lives there. Grandma and grandpa. I gotta visit them, but
Grant.
I gotta hear them stories. Yeah, interesting stories.
Man, you would hear some stories driving. Darren probably knows from Pine Hill to Grants, going through El Moro through
yep.
the ice
Oh,
caves.
dude. Yeah, dude. All the time. All the time. It's
Man, you
it's.
see some
I don't.
crazy stuff.
Yep. You don't. Yeah, dude. It's really weird. I'm not sure what goes on. Why it's like that, but
It's like the Bermuda
you
Triangle, huh? It's
yeah,
like
dude.
things
Yeah,
pop in and pop
yeah.
out.
Pretty much. Even going back home, where I live out there, it's the same way. How these people, these documentaries, they talk about all these paranormal stuff. And then we sat down when we were watching one, and they were like, "Dude, that stuff literally goes on right here." Like got lights in the
Yeah,
trees. You got shadow people, weird voices. Little people, UFOs. You pretty much you name it, dude. It's I don't know what it is, but that's just backyard. So
right.
it happens all in the house, backyard, freaking in the woods. You name it.
All we gotta
It's
do is
really
just grab it, put it in the back pocket. That's all we can do. Just like, hey, I'm gonna put this in my pocket and keep going. That type of
right.
deal.
Right.
But
Yeah,
really,
everything from Bigfoot. I seen had my canner with two of them back at the house too. So you know, it's a real active area. As for why, no, that's still a mystery. I'm still trying to unravel to myself. So
I
all
always,
uh,
tourist
I always
entrance.
was, I was always told that that's because it's the continental divide right there, so everything's traveling from north to south, and it's always
right.
along that line that like certain thing, right? Like it's always in that area right before you hit ice caves, like
Mm,
between Almoro and ice caves. That's like that main
yeah,
section where a lot of people see activity.
yeah. Maybe stuff just jumps out and takes a visit, and
Right.
jumps back on that continental divide train. I
Highway.
guess I don't know, man. Tell you the truth, but yeah, I always hear stuff on that road. Always. It's
What about any portals or like a Hollow Earth entrance? Does you guys know about or old stories of them?
Yeah. I mean, I think they've always talked about back home that there's been portals in places, or I would say maybe tunnels more than anything, like,
mm,
places where people kind of go from section to section. But there was tunnels that they found in places of the Pueblo that people were using to go from place to place. And also people talking about um, kind of showing up in different locations, right? Like all of a sudden they felt like they were not where they were supposed to be, or they felt like they were floating, and then all of a sudden they're on the other side of the community, on the other side of the reservation line,
mm.
which is a trip. But I was going to talk about it too, but I think people have experienced that. I don't know, Darren, if you know, but like out west of Zuni, there was a place called Witch Wells, which is a bar,
Yeah,
and I was
yeah,
going towards
yeah.
St. Yeah. St. John, Sanders area, a lot of people experience crazy stuff like that, like portals or getting caught in a time capsule, and or
Yep.
seeing stuff that they couldn't explain and that would cause them to crash. But it really takes me back to that episode. I forget his name, but he was talking about alcohol spirits and like how
Mm,
that affects people. And I really think that that place, Witch Wells, and even the name, right? It really brings like that to like my forefront of being like maybe that's what was happening with people. But I do know that a lot of people that experienced stuff more than likely stop drinking because of it. You know what I mean? So
yep. It's this, the alcohol. These alcohol spirits or beings. They're really hard on the Native American population. It's a lot of people lost land just due to this, and it's kind of it's a weird thing. It's odd, but it happens, and whatever it is that's in this water is really control of, and find ourselves really acceptable to it. Which is a sad thing. But besides that, yeah, dude. Strangely enough, this area, Witchwell, just that road too. It's real flat and it's real barren. So
yeah,
there's a lot of stuff. I drove on that road all the time. All the time going into Phoenix, and yeah, I believe that too. Like lost time loops. Take
Yep.
I can remember this one time we took that road to going towards what was that place called, Springerville.
yeah.
Um, I swear we drove for like 3 hours and we didn't hit nothing. Late at night, and we're like, "What the heck is going on? This town should have been right here." It shouldn't take this long to get there, and we're running out of gas too. So eventually we got back, and sure enough, it took us 3 hours, 3 4 hours just to get from one town to the next, and like what the heck? And we just shrugged it off and like, damn, that's weird. Well, let's get some gas and get some let's get something to eat, and then we'll head out. So
Ooh.
I don't know what
You might have
it is.
got missing time. Missing time. It sounds like you got probed. I was just
No,
playing.
I don't know.
Oh,
But
oh man.
in the
That's scary
UFO
though.
community too, they have that those giant what do you call those, radio
Oh, for
towers?
yeah. Hmm.
Out there. That's about an hour, maybe an hour away from where I live out there in New Mexico too. So it's
Towards the
really not
west.
that far. Those giant radio dish things, you had it on Scooby Doo.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's really not that far. And even out there in Fence Lake, there was a cult. I don't know if you remember that cult that was out there
I heard
in
about
Fence
it.
Lake. Yeah, that's not even that far away from where I live either. It's like maybe in a
Man,
straight line 5 miles. So
Fence Lake is a trip too.
yeah, right. Yeah, there.
Speaking of, yeah, my sister experienced a Bigfoot. Uh, she didn't see it, but she heard it. My family had, well, I'll go back, but my dad remarried, and my stepmom, her family has like ranch land out there in Fence Lake.
Mhm.
Um, so we had, I remember one year we were having to go and get all the cattle. So we were going out. Before we had horses, and then we upgraded to four-wheelers. So we were out there ripping around, flying around.
Mm,
I remember me and my brother were going down, and my sister, she was always trying to one up us and stay with us. And so we were going and taking these little bumps over and jumping over these spots. And she lost us and she got behind us, but I didn't. Obviously we found out because she got to the house super late, but she had crashed the four-wheeler she was on because she hit it was like a buried truck bed in the ground, and she had gone over this little jump and she smashed into the back of this old truck bed. So the whole axle was bent on the four-wheeler, so she was having to turn with all her strength to make it go straight. So she was like working the whole way, maybe like 6 miles back to the house where we were. She was just trying to make this thing go straight, right? The four-wheeler trying to go straight, but she was using all her strength. And it was like around probably night, nightfall. And she said she heard trees falling in the hillside, like literal trees getting knocked
mm,
over.
Oh.
and something trailing her on the hillside. But it was like it was like it's just like it sounded like a big freight train going through these trees, following her, like just all these trees falling down. And it got to this opening, and it was like a huge field. And I remember she was like, I was so scared that whatever was following me was gonna jump out from those trees, and I was gonna see in that field. But she never saw what it was.
Wow.
But she said she could hear
Yeah.
sounds and noises like grunting or like something making noises, and those trees falling over, following her for like at least like 2 or 3 miles.
Oh man,
Yeah,
it's unsettling.
yeah, it's a trip, dude. I know out there people hear children laughing. I don't know if you ever drive out there at night,
Ooh.
but you go outside. We had they told me like, yeah, well, yeah, we drove out there and we had to use the restroom. So I pulled over and whip out the lizard, and all what he was saying was he's like, or heard children laughing and giggling in the trees in the dark, and they're like, oh man, really? Like he's like, yeah, and he's like, I don't know what it was. I don't know, you know, even if it was kids, like what are kids doing in the middle of nowhere in the dark and the cold, and
Laughing
as
at
for
the
what it
size of the
was,
Peter.
as for what it was, that's up in the air. I don't know where to catalog that. Kids laughing in the dark,
I don't know if
and
I
if
feel
it wasn't
scared
kids,
or
that's creepy
yeah.
enough,
I don't
So
know if I feel scared or ashamed that someone was laughing at me.
Laughing at the lizard. What are you laughing
yeah,
at?
Come closer.
yeah.
It's laundry day. Are you laughing at my brownies?
No,
But
man.
That's
Yeah.
scary though.
I think that's probably the creepiest I would ever go by is hearing a kid laugh in the middle of the night. No way, man.
yeah, dude.
I call it
Yeah.
quits at that point. Anything else I'd probably be okay with, but that, ooh, no, I'm good.
So,
Yeah.
did
That
you ever
and
meet
a
the
female screaming. Go ahead.
right?
Uh,
Did you ever meet the cult, the group out there? You ever run across
I
them?
I didn't, man, but I heard about it. I heard about it. Yeah, I
From
know
what I
they
was
would.
told,
Yeah, go ahead.
is I'm pretty sure you've been to like Gallup swap meet right there, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The
A
flea
couple
market.
of years ago, there used to be a little hut that I think they were like Mormons or something, but they used to always hand out pamphlets with like taped, uh, you know, um, spearmint candy on it, and they hand out pamphlets and stuff like that. And I think that was them, and they used to like sell hand me down clothes. And I remember the boy, I think it was the son of that lady, the leader of the lady. And I remember him, and he used to, I don't know what it is, what kind of like preaching it is, but it's that, they take that deep breath and then they go on and then they take another deep breath and they're like the hallelujah. And then they preach like that. It's kind of a weird way they preach, but I remember that kid doing that, and
Kind of like
as for where they are
Baptist,
now, yeah, I
like
don't know.
Baptist
I don't
church
know.
style or something.
I think it's more like a southern accent,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
southern preaching type. Um, but yeah, I think that was them. To tell you the truth, I haven't seen them after all that, but their place is up for sale, $2 million if you have the money out there. There ain't
Oh,
nothing out there
that's
looking
not
low.
that expensive. I was just playing.
Good luck.
But
Before we move on, gentlemen, let's catch up with the comments real quick here, guys. Let's see here. Where do I start again? Let's see here. Oh, Nivea's Angel. Yep, the area I grew up in was named Dark Shadows. That I ought to tell you something. Yep, over there in Guadalupe, Dark Shadows Street. That's crazy name to name a street, Dark Shadows. Nivea's Angel. That's wild. Ojo Caliente means hot eye. Yikes! Something had to happen there.
mm,
Yeah, it says that's and Nivea's Angel. That's crazy. LOL. It took the food and split. Definitely.
Didn't even leave nothing.
Cedric Willie, what's up, Cedric?
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, Don and Darren? TG, greetings from St. Louis. Oh, the Show Me State. What nationality is the guest speaker? Go ahead, Kevin. Go ahead, tell your nationality.
From Zuni Pueblo, Zuni and half Salvadoran.
Awesome.
You heard it there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Crazy Coyote 1313. I remember there's a video about all the alleged alien species from a former federal agent. According to him, there's 27 known alien species. That's very
Believe
interesting.
it.
That's a lot of species, man. Cedric Willie, I talked to a Navajo cop and he said he got a call of a Bigfoot running across the road between Rema and Zuni. Jeez.
Yep, that's that area is really kind of witchy too. You know, it's a real oddball area. That little space right there. So
Yeah,
I
it's
bet.
pretty. Yeah.
Nivea's Angel, do you guys get a lot of shadow people on the res? Yeah, just
Oh, yeah.
depends.
Yeah.
Certain people have stories on that. It's pretty scary. Cedric Willie, I seen a white figure like a lady in white by Witch Wells when I was driving back at 2 a.m. Ooh, that is
Yeah,
scary right there.
There you go.
yeah, sadly, I think Witchwell is gone now. I think, right?
It's closed, man. It's closed.
Yeah.
It's been closed for like a
things
couple
happen.
years now. Yeah.
Yep. Well, there goes another legend. I never been there. I never been inside, but I know where.
I've only been in the
Witchwells.
parking lot. My
Right.
dad would leave me in the car.
Jeez. Wonder why it's called Witch Wells. Do you guys know the story behind it?
Mm.
I
Nope.
think it was just I think it just got the name. I think it was a different name and people just started calling it that.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
your
kind of
name
your
stuck.
local watering hole too. So
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like a
okay.
local spot
Yeah.
for like what? Probably like
Ooh.
3 different towns right there.
right, and
Oh.
it's the only building out there in the middle of nowhere too. It's the strangest
It's
thing.
it's a split. Like you go up to it and then it kind of cuts off into different spots, but it's like the
Right.
only building. And I think at
Mhm.
one point it used to sell gas, and then it just became strictly a bar. Yeah.
Oh man, sounds like a lot of love spells took place in there.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy Coyote 1313. If you look at the map of the Navajo Nation, the 4 sacred mountains from Polygram, and then oh hey, be careful of highway hypnosis. Highway hypnosis is when you are awake but really asleep. When it hits open the windows or turned on the radio, and loud highway hypnosis kills many people at night. Oh yeah,
Wow.
be careful. Jay Clark, my uncle seen a Bigfoot across highway south of Witch Wells towards St. John's. Ooh,
Yep.
that's some good
Believe
stuff
it.
right there. Susan Phoenix 2331. Hey guys, what's up, Susan?
Hey, what's up?
How's Phoenix? Cedric Willie. Oh, okay. All right, that's someone's the conversation. Benny Oz, 1975. What's up, Benny? I remember your name from yesterday's podcast. Richie and Wojo. How's it going? He says, Don,
Hey, what's
Darren, at Chewy.
What's up?
Let's see here. TG, Navajo Heritage here. I live in STL. The city is built on Indian mounds and underground caves, portals, and there is like tons of cemeteries. Creepy city. Sometimes I feel like I shouldn't be here. A lot of bad things happen in that city. I worked in that city once with the conservation corps back in Nam. We helped the tornado was throwing trees into the houses. So I was in a really, really bad area. Everyone looked like Lil Wayne, jaywalking the streets. So everyone was like, "Hey, don't go out there. Hey, stay inside." Like, dude, man, I just want to go and blend in, But that's St. Louis.
Where was that? Salt Lake or
St. Louis,
St.
Missouri.
Louis? Oh yeah, I got it.
Yeah, it's pretty it's its own deal. Speaking in
man.
tongues. Oh yeah. BCast, when Darren said whip out the lizard during his story and kept going without laughing. Oh, wow, that got me.
I think you
You
got
know what
all of us.
happens. You know what happens.
You just
I think
gotta,
you got all of us.
drain the main vein. Oh damn. Crazy Coyote 1313 Warren Jeff's cult. What? So it's a Mormon cult?
Yep.
Yeah, it was a lady that was running it, and
Jeez.
my grandmother.
Oh, go
What's
ahead.
that?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Actually, my grandmother seen him too, late at night, and she thought they seen him. They had like white headdress on, torches, and all that. The area where that is, it's the middle of nowhere itself. You know, that little plantation, and my mother, they kind of had to explain it like this might be the KKK out here doing their stuff. You know, so I don't know. As for what it was, as for who they are, you know, that's they're not there no more. I can tell you that much. I think there's like child trafficking they were doing and stuff like that. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like it was they were like adopting a bunch of children or something, and
They're from like Africa and stuff like that. It was
yeah,
really weird. Really
there's
weird.
like a bunch
group
of
of
kids that
people.
were adopted that were just being neglected, and it was bad, dude.
Mhm.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Almost done,
So
guys. BCast still made it home to watch the live. Oh man, thank you for
nice.
making it home safely. BCast. TG, I might be literally the only Navajo here. It's interesting though. Oh yeah, you might be the only Navajo there. Funky Wizard, Central America, represent Nicaragua here. Hey, what's up, brother?
What's up?
Nicaragua, our brothers from the south.
What's up?
Nivea's Angel, please hit that like and subscribe, folks. Please,
Dang.
please.
Please
Shout
do.
out.
ST, oh yeah, shout out, thank you. STL does have a weird vibe, sure does, especially because when I was in St. Louis, we visited the Trail of Tears, and I walked the trail from the
Oof.
Mississippi River, and dude, man, you guys need to go walk that trail. It's a
How was
different
that
feeling.
heavy?
Yeah, it was really heavy, man. I was just when I was walking it, I felt like saying, like, can you believe this? Are you guys crazy? You know, I just wanted to say that. Are you guys out of your mind? You know, like walking, like I had that weird feeling, like I couldn't believe that this took place, but it did. Strange feelings though. It's strange.
Crazy.
I got to go back again. Carla Washington. Oh, they crossed that river during the winter time too in St. Louis. They crossed in the winter. They lost a lot of women and children there, from what I remember reading on there. Carla Washington, is there a Bashes in Window Rock? I think so. Back in the day, they had an awesome nachos. Missed that. Jay Clark, get Fried Rio on the podcast. Fred Rio on the podcast. We'll see what we can do, Jay Clark. Crazy Coyote 13. Not the only Navajo here. I am. Oh, everybody's Navajo. Even Lee right here, Lee Cetric, he's Navajo and Zuni.
Dang.
So we're all family here. Crazy Coyote 1313. Oh, Window Rocks Bashes Nachos were lit. Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Kevin, you can share the little people story, and you can save your last one for last. But
All right.
Go ahead. Take it away.
Good call. Good call. I'm gearing up to that. Don. I'm getting ready, feeling it. I'm like, all right, gotta relive it. But anyway, I'll start off with my personal experience on Little People, and then kind of move back to other stories I've heard from my brother and my mom. But yeah, so back in Zuni, there's the main pueblo, and then when you drive out west, there's a trailer park called White's Trailer Park. So I lived at White's Trailer Park at the time. It's a trailer park. There's a couple trailer homes, and it's on the other side, the west side of the pueblo. If you're from there, if you've heard of it, you know where that's at. So that area is a little ways away from like the main village. So at that time, my stepmom, her family had owned a candy store, kind of laundromat in the Pueblo called Lemon Tree. So Lemon Tree was like the only laundromat that was in the Pueblo. If you didn't go there, you had to go to Gallup. That had a candy store and all of that. There's like ice cream and stuff in it. But I remember one night, my brother, he's my stepbrother, but I call him my brother. It's his mom's family that owns it. So his family that owns that Lemon Tree. So we were at our house in White's trailer park. And so we were like, oh, we're going to go down there. We're going to go and get some snacks before they close. It was summer, it was probably like around 9 o'clock. And I remember we called and his mom was like, we're going to leave here at 10. So if you guys want to come, you better come quick. I'm not going to come get you. You're going to walk down. So from there, you either take the main road that's like pitch black, no lights all the way to the Pueblo, probably about a little under a mile, or you cut across alongside the river because there's a Zuni River that used to go through. It's not really a river anymore, but you would follow that trail and that would take you a little more of a short way to where we were going. But there is no lights. It's pitch black. It's next to the river where there's like, kind of a arroyo, like it's in the ditch right there. And we've always heard stories of people seeing crazy stuff over there. So we didn't really want to think about it, but it was either our choice of being underage, going on the main road, a police officer saying, hey, what are you doing? Go home, so we wouldn't be able to go get our snacks. So we took the other route, which was near the river. So we took that route, and I remember we were going up it. And when we were going to the Lemon Tree, there was really nothing that was happening. It didn't seem out of the ordinary. I think we were all just kind of scaring ourselves, like thinking there was something there or whatever. But I remember once we got to the Lemon Tree, we got all our stuff, and then we were heading back home to the trailer park. So then we were taking that same route that we took because we felt it was normal and there was nothing to be worried about. On the way back, I remember halfway, there was about 5 of us. I was at the middle because I was the smallest. So they're like, oh, Kevin's going to be in the middle. Got the other people in the back and the other people in the front. And my brother was the one in the front. One of the people in the front. So I remember we were walking and one of the people in the back, I'd say he was my friend, but he was more or less my brother's friend. So he kept saying like, oh man, something keeps like hitting me. Like I felt like he said he kept feeling like there was like some like rocks or pebbles getting thrown at him. And he was like, oh, I can't. He kept saying like something keeps hitting me. And we're like, what are you talking about? He's like, something keeps hitting me. And he's just like, just keep going, keep going. So he kept walking. And I remember before we knew it, there was pebbles or rocks getting thrown out from both sides of this like walking. It was like a road basically. So on both sides of the road, there was like rocks getting thrown at us in the dark and we couldn't see. But we could feel them because they were hitting like the back of our head or like you feel in the back of your shirt. And before you knew it, the rocks started getting a little bigger. They went from pebbles to like kind of like, little bigger size rocks and they hit one of us. And I remember when that happened, he just started running. He's like, go, go, go. He started pushing everyone. We started running. And I remember as soon as we started running, you can just hear like just this sound of like something. It sounded like multiple things chasing us from behind. But it wasn't just from behind on the main road. You could hear it on the sides of the road, like these weeds kind of like something was hopping over it or jumping through it. And I remember the last bit before you get to the trailer park from that kind of like river road, there's an open field. And that open field, the trail kind of zigzags to get to the main road. We didn't take the zigzag. We went just straight through the field because we were just running through it from whatever is chasing us. But I remember, well, I know now, but like it's still there. It's the only street light that's there, but it's right at the corner of that field because that's where you turn to the trailer park. So it's the only street light that's really there. And then after that, it's dark. But I remember we were running through there. I was running. The couple people behind me are running the two. And I remember one of them looked back and he's like, it's a little person. It's a little person. And he said he really looked back. I didn't look back, but they were all yelling and behind us, and they just kept telling us to run. But when we got back to the house, he said that he saw what looked like, a little a little Indian person,
Hmm.
like with traditional clothes, like a loincloth, long hair, like kind of black hair, looked really like it's like it looked almost dirty, like it was scruffy, like just like little like dirty thing. Like just not to say in a derogatory term, but like it just looked like it was like came from the earth or something. And
Hmm.
he's like, it was just that's what I saw before we got to that light. And as soon as the light kind of hit where we could see stuff, it stopped. So we never really saw anything, but he said he saw that. So I don't know. I mean, it could have been
Uh,
either or, but I do remember we were getting stuff thrown at us.
you know, I think that might be our little people. You know how they say they dress in clothing. You know, this is it's not an uncommon thing that I hear about when they bring up little people. That what you
Correlations.
described right there is what the the local community say they see too. So you know, loincloth, and it looks, you know, real bushy, shaggy hair. Look kind of, one person kind of described it as like that Cannibal Holocaust cover. I don't know if you guys seen that video, ugly film back in like the '80s, but you know, that their hair is just real, it looks unkept and it's real bushy and kind of
Baggy.
long,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's based. I think that might be um, our little people back at the house right there, description. So
Um,
yeah.
we're and you say you had your mom's story too?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell my brothers really quick because his is pretty short,
Oh
but
heck yeah. Uh
um yeah, I remember he was telling me like, maybe like a year or two after that he was at his grandma's house and at the time he was living there, but I remember he said he woke up because he heard the dog outside barking like nonstop, just barking, 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 barking. And he's like, I went out and looked out the window by the kitchen, and he's like, I barely opened the blind because I didn't want to see what was out there. So he opened the blind, and he said he saw shadows of like little people on the doghouse, like going in and out. And he's like, it probably was eating, they were probably getting like the dog food because the dog was outside the house just barking at him.
Mm.
And he's like, he saw them
oh
like getting inside the house, and then all of a sudden I think they noticed him, but they just took off. And he said he didn't want to look outside after that. He ran back to the room and just like went under the covers.
Huh.
oh man.
Dang. Yeah.
But
Well, we all live pleasant lives on the reservation, huh?
yeah,
Getting people
what you see out the room,
stories,
out the window. Um,
right?
yeah, and then my mom's story. She told me this a couple times, but she brought it up the other day, so I was like, oh, good reminder, because I remember the details now a little clearer. But so back home in Zuni, there's a there's a community or a part of the pueblo that's called Black Rock. So Black Rock is like the section before you fall into the pueblo. Black Rock is where our hospital is. There's a couple of houses, but it's mainly like
Mm.
teacher and doctor kind of living situation. And then like like housing for native for Zuni Pueblo, that people who have been relocated from their houses in the main Pueblo now live in Black Rock. So it's like housing authority basically. So in that area there was a lake, and that was like the main lake that kind of fed into the river that went to the Pueblo.
Mm.
But I think it was back. I can't remember the specific date, but I do know that the United States government created a dam to dam that lake. So they made a dam, and that dam then eventually made that lake dry up because there was no aquifer that would replenish it. They just sucked all the water out of it, and it was done. So before that happened, there was like a natural kind of creek that, like, the creek that would feed into the river, into the Zuni River. Um, and my mom was telling me before they created the dam, there was a bunch of areas where there was caves right below where that lake was. So I remember she said her and her older brother at the time they were living in Black Rock because their mom, um, that was the only place that she could get a house to live outside the main village was in Black Rock. So that's where they were living. And they would go down with a couple friends from the area and they would camp out in those caves when she was like 12 or 13. her and her brother and their friends, they would go in those caves and explore it and camp out in those caves because they were, nothing else to do but go explore and check out some stuff. But I remember her saying, before, or maybe close to the time that they were doing that, that there were archaeologists that went through those caves and they found miniature pueblos, like miniature pueblos of like what Zuni looked like miniature style pueblos.
Hmm.
So that was already, yeah, inside those caves. So that was already known for like being like that's where little people were. So they went to one of those caves. I don't think it was the one that they excavated where they found that miniature pueblo, but I remember she said they were there and they went down to the water or the lake and they got like some fish, or, like some, and they were gonna cook it, and just trying to camp out. And I remember one of their friends went up to the top to go unleash the lizard, as they would say, and went up to go, so they went up to the top, and he came back like pretty quick. My mom said that he was like pale, white as a ghost, terrified. And he's like, they're here, they're there, they're coming, like just saying nonsense. And she's like, what are you like, what are you talking about? And he's like, the little people, they're here. And they were like, what? And then like before they knew it, they heard like noises coming up from below the cave. So they all got their stuff and ran out. And she said as soon as they were running out, and what she said, she looked back, was like, it looked like similar story of like bushy miniature, like little native people, little Indians chasing after them with like spears and stuff. But that was like back when they were like younger. So she's like, I don't know if I imagined it or if it was real. But she's like, my brother said he accounted for the same thing. Like my uncle said he saw a similar thing when they were that age there. So
Wow,
Little people.
that's a good little people story right there, man. I really like that. That's watch out, man. Big things come in small packages too. Everyone out there, don't mess around with little people because they can abduct you.
yeah.
Oh man. Woo.
Well, I think it was crazy that they excavated a miniature pueblo. Like the structure of it, like the ruins, right? Like they were under the dirt. Like it looked like there was a pueblo that was there in this cave. Yeah.
Wow.
I found some. There is ruins in the western portion of the Navajo Nation. There's this mesa, and when you go up there, the ruins were small. Like these people were small. I don't know if it was little people or the ancient ones were just short. So just because we're walking on their pathways, their pathways of the tree is at least 3 feet tall. So I had to hunch in, and my oldest son, he was 7 or 9 at the time. He didn't have to hunch at all. He was just walking underneath there. Perfect. I'm like, what? Okay, it's kind of weird. Darren, you got any questions before
No, not at the time, but man, always makes you. I seen a bunch of pictures, back in the day, black and white. I know there was a giant lake right there, and same thing with Rama too. They put a dam on it, and
Yep.
that was it of that lake. So I don't know what to say about it. It sucks, but I don't know.
we're running low on time, gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
Before I have Kevin tell his last story, but here's a good question here. It says, Kevin, do you think it was Anasazi? My stepmom and my mom have seen them and described it like that.
I don't know. Could have been.
Interesting. Who knows?
But
We gotta have.
Yeah. I was gonna say I do know that. From what I found out, was the reason why a lot of those structures were smaller was for a defense mechanism where they would crawl through it, and then the next person who was trying to attack them would have to crawl through, and that's when they just drop a rock. Boom. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Defense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I'll let you tell your scariest story.
The last
So you
story.
got enough
Okay.
water. You got
Got
moisture in there.
Got it. Okay. Let me get one more sip. I got coffee in this one. All right. Yeah, so this next story is probably the scariest one that I've probably have on my arsenal, but plenty more that come after this, and I feel like I barely kind of touched the surface of, having the stories I wanted to share tonight. But this one is probably
So
the
it was
one
part
that,
2. But go
yeah,
ahead.
there you go. This is probably the one that probably sticks the most with me, as I mentioned earlier. But yeah, so I was about 11 years old, and it was probably summertime. I remember, and my older brother, he's 2 years older than me, so all his friends were kind of his age. So that was 11. They were about 13. Um, and I remember, we were all at the trailer park because that's kind of where we resided. We were the trailer park boys before they became popular on TV, the Res Trailer Park
Who's the
Boys.
rapper?
Yeah. So we were all, we were all into mischief and just having a good old resi time. But what's more resi than getting in the car and going mud bogging after it rains? So we figured, at that time, my friend's mom was out of town and they had a minivan. And they were two Malika boys, two white guys, who their mom was I think she was a doctor, or no, she was a nurse or something. So she worked at the hospital. Um, but she was living there. I don't remember what happened, but anyway, they were twins. So there was Chris and Alec. I remember their names were, and they were the ones that had this minivan. Their mom left it because she went somewhere else with someone or whatever, and so we were like, "Hey, let's take your mom's van and go, go rip around in the mud really quick." They were like, "No, no, no." So it took some convincing, and finally, it was me, my brother, another friend, and then the two twins that piled up in that minivan, and we had their dog. I remember their dog was a shepherd mix, and I remember it jumped in the car, and we all took off, and we went like north of the Pueblo, which was it's pavement, and then it hits dirt, and then it's just straight, just dirt all the way out to like one of the mesas that are there. um, and it just rained, so I remember it was pretty muddy. There were some spots that weren't so bad, but we got through it. And then we got to the very edge of that mesa, and there's like a road that kind of like loops around. So we turned around and we were coming back towards the Pueblo. And I remember as we were coming back, we went into a little dip, and the wheels got stuck in this mud pit. So the mud pit was like, we didn't know, we were 13, so we didn't know if you rev the gas that your tires go deeper and deeper. And we were just trying to figure it out, trying to go and grab whatever we could, find rocks and stuff them under the tires, and trying to get this van out. And eventually we're like, we can't get it out. We can't get it out. So we were standing there, and I remember it was getting kind of dark. It was like probably like getting towards dusk. And my brother was like, "Hey, we need to make, a couple of us need to go in and get someone to come help us, because if we don't go now, we're going to be walking, like it was probably about 3 miles away from the Pueblo, to get back home. We're going to be walking a while, and it's going to be dark." So we all kind of decided like who's going to go, and it was our friend Dexter went, and then one of the brothers went, one of those twins. So they went, and they're like, "We're gonna go see if we can get help." So they left, and it was me, my brother, their dog, and one of the twins that were there with us. So we were there, and we kept trying and trying and trying to get the car out, and it wouldn't get out. So eventually, we are like, "Man, we're gonna kill the battery." It's been, about an hour that we've been stuck out here, and by that point, it was already like, the skies were like purple, and the sun was gone, so it was starting to get dark, and you could hear the coyotes going off in the distance, and that's when we were like, "Dang, like, we should probably just get in the van and hang out." So we got in the van, and I remember, um, sun went down. It was like pretty dark, and we were just in there, just talking, just waiting, waiting to see what would happen if anyone were to show up. And we are just talking and talking, and we didn't have a clock. I don't remember what time it was, but I'm sure it was probably close to like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And I remember thinking like, or it wasn't even thinking, it was like a feeling that there was something that was like behind the car. Like it felt like there was something looking behind the minivan. So as a minivan, you have like 3 rows, right? I was in the second row with the dog, and my brother and one of the twins was in the front and the passenger, in the driver's side and the passenger. And I was sitting in the very middle of that middle row with a straight eye shot to the rearview mirror. And I remember thinking that I was like, I don't want to see anything that's in that rearview mirror. So I kind of shrunk down into the seat a little bit, like I was scared. And as soon as I was doing that, the dog started kind of whining, like growling. And it got off from the seat that I was on, and it kind of crawled by my feet, and it started like like crawling up into a little ball and started whining. And I remember hearing this like scratching noise from the back of the van. And as soon as I heard that scratching noise, I looked in the rearview mirror, dead shot, and I seen what looked like a white coyote face with feathers around it. And as soon as I saw that, the lights cut out on the van, the battery died. And when that happened, I remember hearing like this kind of like trickling, kind of like fingernail from the back of the van where that thing was, coming up to the door where the sliding door of the minivan opens. And as soon as that was gonna get opened, I remember feeling like I was like, that thing's gonna open right away, and hearing those fingernails coming up or whatever it may have been. There was a cop light, like the spotlight came down that main road, and I remember it shined right towards us, and that thing just stopped. That noise stopped. And I remember the dog got up and we all kind of stood up, and yeah, that was the most terrifying moment. When I saw that cop, I was relieved, and I remember jumping out of the minivan. I just started running towards that police officer, and then knowing to tell them that they couldn't even take us, but I was like 11, and they're like, "Oh, someone's gonna come and get you, so you just gotta sit tight." So they sent us back to the minivan. We got the dog, and then we eventually just started walking. We're like, we're not gonna stay here. We're gonna keep going. But I remember when we were walking, we could hear like distant drumming, like in behind us. And my brother was beside me, and I remember him telling me, "Don't look back, just keep looking forward. Don't look back, just keep looking forward." And we just kept walking, and then eventually we started running because we felt like there was something behind us, because you could hear it, like something was following us. So we started running, and I remember as soon as you started running, it was probably maybe like 2 minutes, and then some more lights started coming down the road, and that was the people come and get us. So they ended up picking us up, but they said they didn't see anything, supposedly. But the next day we went back. I didn't go back. My brother went back with the people that towed the van, and he went back to the back of the car, of the van, where he said, where I saw whatever that was in the back window, and he said that they saw coyote feet that came up to the back, and then when it was leaving, it turned into like people feet. But
Oh, snap.
Wow.
he said it took him a while to tell me that, but he told me eventually, and that's when I was like, all right, so that's what I saw.
Yeah. I believe you, bro. Like these prints that dog prints, human prints. I seen this. I seen the same thing to myself. And right afterwards, we got in a car accident. We rolled the vehicle like 3 times. So it just comes with a bad omen. Seeing those stuff. So, but yeah, dude, I believe you. I believe that.
Yep.
He.
Gonna read
So,
some of these. Yeah, be careful out there, everybody. Let's read some of these real quick. Before we close out. Eastern Dragon, great stories, guys. Great story, Kevin. Sweet, man. This is a hell of an episode already. Ed Lavato, the little people aren't playing. No, they aren't.
oh no.
No, they aren't. BCAS, I heard about small caves and holes along the Chuscas where little people lived inside of them. I hear that there are small miniature houses made of mud inside of them. Ooh, that is cool. Uh, River Morris, Koi from us, Yowie mob down under. Hey, nice. What's up, Australia? I am tribal elder. I've seen our hairy brothers and sisters. I've spoken in my lingo with them. Oh man, you guys teach us some of your lingo. Great
Yeah.
show, brothers. Thank you for
Yeah.
enjoying the show, brother. Thank you. We're all family here. Jay Clark, the locals say they can hear the Anasazi drum in Kenya and Deshay sometimes.
Hmm.
Ooh, that is scary. Cherry Madigan 5315. Great show, guys. Good night, all. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Pardon me. Libby's Angel. It's so funny to me how natives, the Mexican natives, are so used to these scary stories. We act like it's an everyday event to see strange supernatural stuff.
Yep.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's see here. Tyson Lolito, how's it going down in there? And I hope I didn't miss anything good. Oh man, you gotta go back and rewatch this episode, Tyson. Crazy Coyote 1313. Yeah, we aren't scared of them ghosts as relatives, just visiting Bigfoot, the apex predator with intelligence of a human adult. We used to it. Um, River Morris, you're welcome, brothers. I got a lot to share. God bless. Oh, reach out to us.
Yeah.
Reach
Reach
out
out
to
to
us,
us. Like to
please.
hear.
Yep, especially about the Yowie. Is there any final questions you want to ask Kevin before we head out?
Uh, thank you. Thank you for coming on and not not sharing stories, but sharing experiences. I would take it. And you know, I understand that it feels brings it back. You talked about it, bring it back, and thank you for sharing. And I trying to get a Zuni. I always wanted to hear from the Zuni. Thank you for coming on and sharing your experiences with us. And it's a lot of information that was dropped today. It's right now I'm kind of intimidated, going back home since everything seems to be so active now. So, uh, but thank you. Uh, I hope.
You want to say later to everybody, Kevin, before we close out?
Yeah, thank you guys.
Oh,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
could you lead us through a prayer, or you want to do that till we say leaders to everyone, or you want to? How do you want to do
Yeah,
it?
just say later, everyone. Yeah, just want to close it out again and just say for the non-native speakers and everyone on part, just saying, yeah, thank you all for being here and not taking any of this stories or anything, these energy forward and leaving it here. So I'll put it at that.
Oh yes, oh yes. It is where it is, and it won't go no further. Awesome. All right. Again, Kevin, it's an honor. Welcome to the family again. Can't wait to get
Thank
you
you.
back on, and we'll chop it up some more. And
Sounds good.
it's an honor. Thank you for your time. Time is very valuable. Darren,
Appreciate it.
thank you, brother.
Yep. Guys, have a
Thank
good
you
one.
guys.
All right.
Take it easy.
All right. Yep, you as well, brother. See ya.
See ya.
Later.
All right, Darren. It's that time of the night again. Thank you.
Yep.
We'll see you again. All
Yep.
right. Thank you for tuning into Don't Whistle at Night. We've been broadcasting live here on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. You guys have a great one. Have a great week. See ya.
Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, Don't whistle at night.